My husband's a sailor, always out at sea, drifting away and only sending money back home on the regular. We've been married for 5 years and decided together to stay child-free forever. But when a monstrous 17-level typhoon hit while he was at sea, I lost all contact with him. A colleague mentioned he was swept away and likely didn't make it. Heartbroken, I even held a funeral for him. To take care of his sick mom and his dad who's paralyzed, I piled up a huge debt. It took me 5 years to clear everything, only to come home and find my supposedly dead husband with a stunning woman and a cute little boy. Now that he's back, my mother-in-law, whom I had been caring for until she regained her strength, coldly told me that the three of us should get a divorce. Seeing the scene in front of me, I felt utterly drained. I grabbed my phone and called my dad, saying, "Dad, I'm done playing around. I want to come home and take over the family business." Ding! Story Hub nudges you to hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner to dive into the full story. "You're back? Now that you're here, you should get a divorce too," my mother-in-law snapped. Standing there, I was wide-eyed and speechless, struggling to believe what I was seeing. Michael Bailey, who everyone thought was dead, was smiling at me with a grin he hadn't had time to wipe away. Next to him was a graceful woman and a sturdy little boy. The air got thick with tension. I was holding a cake to celebrate paying off my debts, which felt so out of place amidst the happy family scene. My excitement froze, and the joy I felt seeing Michael was crushed by my mother-in-law's words. "Who is she?" I stammered, pointing at the woman beside Michael, my disbelief clear. "Bad woman. Don't point at Mommy. Daddy, protect Mommy." The little boy slapped my hand away and ran to hug Michael's leg. So rude. How dare she point at me, her daughter-in-law? "Let me introduce you. This is Michael's wife, Sophia Brown, and this is my biological grandson, Lucas Bailey." My mother-in-law's tone was dripping with pride as she emphasized biological grandson. "She's Michael's wife, so who am I?" My mind was racing, my blood boiling with anger. "All right, Michael, you were dead for 5 years, leaving me to care for your parents, and now you come back with a new wife and a kid." I grabbed Lucas's arm. "Look at this kid. He's 4, isn't he?" Michael looked a bit embarrassed. "Emily, I had no choice. The typhoon swept me to an island and Sophia saved my life." I wasn't having it. "So you just hooked up with her and had a kid?" I sneered, almost laughing out of rage at this ridiculous situation. "I've already let you down. I can't let Sophia down too." Michael looked lovingly at Sophia, who shyly returned his gaze. I couldn't hold back any longer and slapped Sophia across the face. "Shameless woman! Always trying to seduce other people's husbands." Sophia shot me venomous looks before switching to a pitiful expression. I roared and lunged at Sophia, yanking her hair hard. She silently cried, staring at Michael. "Enough! Emily, you shrew! Is it just because I love Sophia and not you? What are you making a scene for? Look at yourself. What man would even want you?" Michael pulled me aside, shielding Sophia behind him. His words hit me like a knife, causing sharp pain. I suddenly froze. The reflection in the mirror showed a woman with a few gray strands, shabby clothes, and rough, cracked fingers, all next to the youthful and beautiful Sophia. They didn't even look like they were from the same era. No wonder Michael seemed so distant, but I used to be young and beautiful too. Feeling suffocated, tears streamed down my face. During the years I thought Michael was dead, I took on massive debts to care for his sick mother and paralyzed father. When debt collectors knocked, I was terrified, shaking and trying to hide my sobs. For 5 years, I juggled 3 jobs a day to pay off the debt, sleeping only 3 hours each night while managing his in-laws. With no money, I often went days eating just plain steamed buns. And when I'd faint from malnutrition, I'd quietly get up and keep working. Every day was exhausting, but my motivation was Michael. I wanted to help him keep his home, so he wouldn't be lost even on the Day of the Dead. Michael once said, as long as I and the people he cherished were at home, he could sail forward without hesitation. So, despite the exhaustion, I felt fulfilled. But now I see he truly sailed away, finding another wife far away. Now he tells me he doesn't need me anymore. Haha, Michael Bailey. Do you know I was young once? Do you know why I am like this now? Do you know what I've been through these years? My heart ached as if squeezed tight, and looking at everything before me, I felt so pathetic. All my efforts were meaningless to him. Michael cut me off coldly. Enough, Emily. Mom told me that even though you didn't take good care of Dad and Mom, you still worked hard. If you agree to the divorce, I'll give you $500,000 as compensation. Like some high-handed charity, I looked at Michael, his big gold chain making him seem unfamiliar. Mom told him? I recalled blankly. Right. In her eyes, I must be a terrible woman. At Michael's funeral, his mother was so grief-stricken she fainted on the spot. I was anxiously watching over his bedridden father, ready to help him breathe at any moment, while also taking care of his mother, fearing something might happen to her. The doctor said Michael's parents were already in bad shape. With Michael's sudden death, they couldn't handle it, and their old illnesses flared up again. Without prompt treatment, the entire Bailey family would soon be reunited underground. I couldn't stand seeing Michael just pass away while his parents followed shortly after. But the money I had wasn't enough, and I was so worried every day my hair started falling out. Michael's mother refused treatment and insisted on joining Michael, hitting and kicking me daily. I thought she was just grieving, so I silently endured it. However, her refusal to eat made me anxious, and the scars on my arm were from her knocking over the chicken soup and scalding me. In desperation, I told her, "Mom, no one's forcing you to eat, but I'll take all the money your son left behind." She was shocked and scrutinized me. "You despicable woman, finally showing your true colors. You're just after the money. Why wasn't it you who died?" My heart felt bitter, but I comforted myself, thinking she was just sad about Michael's death and not really targeting me. After that, I also took Michael's father to the hospital, running back and forth between them. To get them to cooperate with the treatment, I harshly told them, "If you don't use your son's money for treatment, I'll take it and spend it on another man. If you don't want me to spend the money elsewhere, you better listen to me." I took out loans for their treatment, and they believed it was Michael's money, spending it without hesitation. I had to play the villain. "Mom, you've already bought 10 bottles of toner. If you buy another one, I'll run away with the money." "Dad, what do you need this electric scooter for? You can't even ride it. Be good and don't buy it." Since Michael died, I was seen as the villain by his parents. They didn't hesitate to curse me when talking to the neighbors. It hurt, but for Michael, I thought it was worth it. Before we married, Michael told me, "Emily is the most precious treasure in the world. As long as I have Emily, I'm happy every day." During our premarital checkup, I discovered Michael had a zoospermia. But I only cared about Michael as a person and didn't mind not having kids. Knowing Michael was proud, I kept it a secret and agreed to stay child-free. Michael looked a bit down, but he still went along with it. My in-laws were stubborn and rigid, so in front of them, I took the initiative to say it was my choice not to have children, facing most of the backlash. I once believed that if I was sincere enough, I could change their opinion of me. So I ignored their prejudices. But now I see they're just ungrateful wolves. "Michael, isn't it over the top to give her so much money? She spent plenty of your money over the years. I think $100,000 is enough." My mother-in-law adjusted her mirror, pleased with her new gold tooth. Sophia Brown sat beside her, gently chiming in, while my father-in-law slumped in his wheelchair, teasing a young boy. They really looked like a family. For 5 years, I endured humiliation for Michael. In the end, was it only worth $100,000? How pathetic, how laughable. Watching the farce before me, a lump formed in my throat, feeling my years of effort were worthless. And I felt ridiculous for being so blind. "Michael Bailey, I have one last question for you. Why didn't you come home all these years? Even a phone call would have been enough." I clenched my chest, trying to calm down a bit. My phone was swept away by a typhoon, and I couldn't remember the home number. Besides, Sophia was pregnant, and her father intended to hand over the business to me. I really couldn't leave. Michael looked guilty and didn't dare meet my eyes. "Besides, didn't I come back with money? I'm sure Mom and Dad won't blame me. Right, Mom?" "Of course. Who's more filial than my son? Look at the wonderful daughter-in-law he found for me." My mother-in-law hugged Sophia, beaming, then looked at me with disdain. "Sophia is so much better than this hen that can't lay eggs." Barely holding it together, I suddenly felt a surge of anger, glaring at Lucas Bailey's face, which looked nothing like Michael's. Lucas started crying loudly out of fear. My mother-in-law immediately grabbed her cane, aiming to hit me. How can you scare the child? You're jealous because you can't have one, right? I grabbed the cane with such force that my mother-in-law stumbled and almost fell. She didn't expect me to fight back and stared at me in shock. After all these 5 years, aside from financial struggles, I never fought back or talked back. You shrew dare to fight back. Now that my son is here, do you still dare to bully me? Misfortune has befallen this family, marrying such a jinx. Not only did she take my son's money when he was missing, now she dares to hit the elderly. My father-in-law's face turned red with anger, trembling and unable to speak, as if I were his mortal enemy. Watching this scene, I suddenly realized something and snapped back to reality, laughing foolishly. Haha, what a perfect match of the scumbag and the homewrecker. I concede defeat. Michael Bailey, I agree to the divorce. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau in a month. I threw the cake in my hand at Michael, smearing his face with cream. Consider this an early celebration of your family reunion. Then I quickly left, not wanting to be disgusted by the scene any longer. After calming down, I felt a bit tired. After thinking for a few seconds, I dialed my phone again. Dad, I'm done playing. I want to go home and take over the family business. A month later, I drove a Lamborghini to the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. The bright fluorescent green body made it hard to miss. My dad is a billionaire, the founder of Smith Group, one of the top 50 in the world, and I'm his only daughter. When I was younger, I was rebellious and tired of the life he had planned for me. So, my dad and I made a deal. I would return to inherit the family business by the time I turned 35. In the meantime, he couldn't interfere with my life in any way, including my marriage. I also couldn't reveal my true identity unless I gave in and went to him first. After that, I would have to follow all his arrangements. Before I married Michael Bailey, he asked me curiously, "What do your parents do? Why have I never seen them?" I simply replied, "My parents passed away when I was young." At that time, Michael held me tenderly and said he was my family from then on. But now, he doesn't want me anymore. I clenched my fists in anger, feeling unwillingness fill my heart. There are still 2 years until I turn 35, but I don't want to wait any longer. I had planned to tell Michael my true identity when I turned 35, bring him home to inherit the family business together, and live a carefree life. But now, I just want those 2 cheaters to regret it and face the consequences they deserve. A month ago, I called my dad. Oh. My little Princess Emily finally remembers her dad. Hearing my dad's warm and cheerful voice, I couldn't help but cry. "Oh dear, what's wrong? Did someone bully you? Who dares to mess with my Emily? I'll handle it." My dad anxiously comforted me. Only then did I remember I wasn't just a housewife to be trampled on. I'm the princess my dad holds dear to his heart. I once naively believed that sincerity could always be reciprocated, offering my heart to my in-laws, only for them to crush it. I thought Michael would cherish this heart, but he stomped on it too. My heart shattered into pieces, the pain unbearable. During that time of betrayal, I even forgot who I was. I took off my simple wedding ring and threw it into the wind. I'll consider the Michael who cherished me dead. Dead in that storm. The current Michael Bailey is just a jerk who betrayed me. I will make him and his whole family pay the price. With this thought, I wiped away my tears. No need, Dad. I'll handle it myself and make them pay what they deserve. Once I'm done here, I'll come home. But Dad, do me a small favor first. Ask your assistant to send over a Lamborghini. Any model will do. Just make sure it's green. Wow, Mom, this car is so cool. I want one too. I didn't expect that just for a divorce, Michael's entire family of 5 would show up. Even his father was pushed out to join the chaos. Michael's son, Lucas, stared at the Lamborghini with wide eyes, wanting to get closer and touch it. Lucas, when we get home, Dad will buy you a toy car to play with, okay? Let's handle the important stuff first. Over the past month, besides going through a crazy makeover and fitness regime, I also investigated what Michael had been up to these past 5 years. After leaving the small island, Michael went abroad with Sophia Brown. Sophia's family is in the overseas trade business, and they've made some money over the years, with their company reaching a certain scale. But it's nothing compared to my father's company. Michael worked with the Browns for a few years and made a modest name for himself. The big gold chain around his neck is a result of these years of work. Sophia grew up abroad and has a very open mind. Her parents were busy with their business and didn't have time to manage her, so she often attended social parties and hooked up with men she fancied. Coincidentally, Sophia got pregnant from her escapades and, not daring to let her parents know, rushed to find a father for the child in her belly, setting her sights on the handsome Michael. They say they have a lot in common, but in reality, Michael was just after the Brown family's money. Michael grew up under the oppressive education of his parents, always wanting to prove himself, so he kept looking for ways. He was determined to earn more money to make his parents look at him differently. I once told him not to worry about money, to do what he loves, and the money would come eventually. But he obviously didn't believe me. He married Sophia and had a child, so the Brown family's company and assets would eventually belong to his son. Both had their secrets, and they clicked perfectly. It remains to be seen whether they'll stay harmonious when their secrets come to light. I watched Lucas pestering Michael to buy him a car, and the corners of my mouth lifted slightly. Where's Emily? Could it be she regrets only asking for $500,000 after seeing you have money and doesn't want the divorce anymore? Sophia, sweating under the sun, was getting a bit impatient. How could that be? Our Bailey family only recognizes you as our daughter-in-law, Sophia, that useless woman who can't even have a child. Giving her money is already elevating her. My mother-in-law cursed loudly in the street, and Michael felt a bit embarrassed. Mom, the child is here. Don't curse. I'll call Emily and ask her. The melodious ringtone echoed in the car as I put on my sunglasses and opened the car door. After a month of careful upkeep, my skin was as smooth as silk again, glowing with a healthy blush under the sunlight. Wearing a valuable red dress and stepping into 8 centimeters high heels, I immediately caught everyone's attention as soon as I arrived. I saw a flash of amazement in Michael's eyes. It's a bit of a pity that I didn't let this family bask in the sun a little longer. No need. I'm already here. I pulled Lucas away from the front of the car. By the way, watch your kid. If this car gets scratched, it's going to cost you a lot. Lucas started wailing in the street, and my mother-in-law immediately reached out to hit me. Well, you, a woman who was dumped by a man, dare to touch my grandson. A single hair on my grandson's head is more important than you. I grabbed my mother-in-law's hand, looked her in the eye, and spoke each word clearly. First, it's the 21st century now. There's no such thing as being dumped, only divorce. Second, there are surveillance cameras all over the street and a dash cam in the car. If you dare to hit me, today won't just be about a divorce. Or are you planning to provoke me? If I get angry, I won't be in the mood to divorce. Who knows when I'll agree next time? I had a faint smile on my lips. You think I'm a bad woman? Then I'll show you what a real bad woman looks like. You. My mother-in-law pulled her hand back, about to point at my nose, but then thought of what I said and put her hand down. Emily, where did you get the Lamborghini? Did you cheat on me before the divorce and hook up with some rich guy? Did you cheat on me before the divorce and hook up with some rich guy? My mother-in-law fell silent, but Michael started yelling. I laughed coldly and said sarcastically, Michael, don't think everyone is as filthy as you. Besides, didn't you say no man would like me the way I am now? And stop calling me Emily. It disgusts me. Michael's face turned green. Emily, I understand you're upset. After all, Michael loves me, not you. I get that you're unbalanced. But do you really need to rent a car just to show off after the divorce? You're even corrupting my son. Sophia Brown, seeing Michael's attention drawn to me again, panicked, coaxed Lucas, and glared at me discontentedly. Haha, look at this family. They're so ridiculous. They're jealous of my car and even twist the facts, claiming I rented the car out of jealousy. The crowd watching grew larger, and I knew it was time to drop the bomb. But Michael, there's one thing you got right. I smiled maliciously and said loud enough for everyone to hear, Your head is indeed very green, just like my Lamborghini. The crowd erupted, pointing fingers at Michael. You care about your reputation, don't you? Then I'll crush it right in front of everyone. I felt a bit more at ease and saw Sophia's face turn pale. What do you mean? Emily Smith, explain yourself. Michael strode towards me. I got back into the car, looking at him mockingly, knowing that today's mess probably meant the divorce wouldn't go through. But that's okay. There's no way I'd let them achieve their goals so easily. Michael Bailey, I suggest you both get a marriage checkup. I pointed at Michael, then at Sophia, looking at them meaningfully, unable to suppress my smile. After saying that, I started the car and drove away. I had my dad's assistant keep an eye on the Bailey family's movements and gather evidence of Michael and Sophia living together as a married couple. Someone as proud as Michael would never go out with a child and claim she's his mistress, an illegitimate child, right? Sophia wouldn't want that either. I needed evidence of Michael committing bigamy to threaten him. Michael Bailey, I'll make your family cough up all the money that belonged to me that you spent. I sat at the table, tapping my fingers lightly on the surface. This was a large flat I bought specifically across from Michael's house, where I could clearly see everything happening inside through the window. The seller didn't want to part with the house at first, but after I tripled the market price, he agreed. Is this the power of money? I was pleased with my new identity. The assistant said that after meeting at the civil affairs office that day, Michael Bailey dragged Sophia Brown to the hospital for a checkup. Sophia was reluctant, hesitating, but Michael, being strong, forced her to go in. This is the person Michael said he couldn't let down, yet when it came to himself, he didn't hesitate to suspect her. What fragile feelings, I sneered as I looked at the window of Michael's house. Today was the day the checkup results would come out, and Michael rushed out early in the morning. When he returned, his face was ashen, and he slammed the report on the table, shouting at Sophia. He must have realized his problem by now, right? Back then, after getting the premarital checkup report, I told him everything was fine and casually crumpled the paper and threw it away. It wasn't until today that Michael found out he had azoospermia. My mother-in-law hurried over to check the report, her face turning pale as she stood frozen. Lucas Bailey stood in the corner, not daring to move. Sophia fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face as she frantically explained something. I sipped my coffee, feeling refreshed, and enjoyed the drama unfolding in the Bailey household, watching them go from a happy family to falling apart. My mother-in-law, shaking with anger, raised her hand and slapped Sophia hard across the face. Sophia glared at her, wanting to pounce, but after hearing something Michael said, she quieted down, enduring the beating with a vacant look in her eyes. Lucas, crying, jumped into Sophia's arms, and Michael couldn't help but kick him. Seeing Lucas get hit, Sophia screamed and lunged at Michael, biting him. I couldn't see what happened next as the curtains were drawn, but judging by the chaos, Sophia's life won't be easy from now on. Yet Sophia is not me. How long can she endure? I was eagerly waiting to see more drama when my phone rang. It was Michael Bailey. Emily, I was wrong. I didn't know the child wasn't mine. When I was away, I was always thinking of you. I haven't forgotten you for a single day in these 5 years. I've sent her away. Can we live together happily again? Michael's voice sounded tired, and I could faintly hear his mother cursing Sophia in the background. That's funny. You only think of me when you're not doing well? You say you've been thinking of me for 5 years. But if you really cared, why didn't you come back to see me? I retorted sharply. Emily, how did you become like this? You used to be so gentle and considerate. You would never speak harshly to me. Michael accused me, sounding somewhat dejected. It was as if I had heard a joke and my tone was full of sarcasm. Yes, I used to be gentle and considerate. And what was the result? To your whole family, my kindness was just seen as weakness to be exploited. Your call is just in time, Michael. Listen carefully. I've collected all the evidence of your bigamy. If you don't want to go to jail, you'd better pay me back all the money I've spent over the past 5 years, with interest. Michael on the other end of the line obviously hadn't processed this yet. But now that you're doing well, paying back this money should be a piece of cake, right? Let's meet at the Civil Affairs office in a month. I'll bring the compensation agreement. If you sign it, we'll get divorced. If you don't, be ready to be invited to the police station for a chat. Before Michael could answer, I heard the sound of a scuffle, and it seemed Sophia had grabbed the phone. Michael, you said you wouldn't let me down, and now you're calling Emily Smith right in front of me. What do you mean by this? Sophia's voice was sharp and grating, completely devoid of her previous fragility. I seemed to hear Sophia receive a slap, and she cried out shrilly, You wretch! How dare you compare yourself to Emily? If you hadn't deceived me, would I have separated from Emily? It's all because of you, you vile woman. I had never heard Michael so angry and irrational before. It was quite surprising. Haha, if you weren't so greedy for my family's money, would you have been deceived by me? You just don't love her that much. You only love yourself. No, it's not like that, Emily. I was just deceived. I do love you." Michael hastily grabbed the phone to explain. I sneered disdainfully. "Late arriving affection is cheaper than grass. Don't forget to come to the Civil Affairs office in a month." With that, I hung up the phone. A month later, I once again drove my green Lamborghini to the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. This time, my father-in-law didn't come along. I wondered if it was because he was so angry he fell ill and couldn't get out of bed. Knock, knock. The car window was tapped. I slowly rolled down the window and saw Michael's somewhat haggard face. "Emily, can we talk?" I directly slapped a piece of paper onto Michael's face. "For the past 5 years, I've been paying for your parents' medical treatments and their expenses, totaling $2.21 million. With interest, it's not much. Just give me $2.5 million. $2.50, a very auspicious number. Plus your divorce settlement, it totals $3 million. Transfer the money immediately, and I'll sign the contract and get the divorce certificate, bank transfer or card swipe." I waved my phone in front of Michael. $2.5 million? Are you trying to extort me? My mother-in-law immediately rushed over and grabbed my car window. "I spent my son's money. Why should my son pay you back?" I pried her fingers off one by one. "Ma'am, you wouldn't want to damage my car and have to pay for that too, would you? As for spending your son's money, do you really think he could earn that much?" I raised an eyebrow, and my mother-in-law's face turned red with anger. "Not to be rude, but you're alive today because of me. You should be kneeling and thanking me since I'm your savior." I glanced provocatively at my mother-in-law, not really expecting her to kneel, but it was satisfying to anger her. "Even if we spent some of your money, how could it be over $2 million? My mother-in-law sounded a bit guilty. "Then you should take a look at the luxury skincare products on your table and the crocodile skin bags in your closet, not to mention the top-of-the-line mountain bikes your husband bought. Do you want to see the receipts?" My tone was mocking as I looked at her. "You spent money like water back then, and now you know how to feel heartache? How about the heartache I felt back then? I had to keep begging my in-laws to stay alive and spend more money. All the while my heart was bleeding. How come they never saw my pain and grievances back then? You're just making excuses." "Michael, don't listen to her. If you don't sign, I don't believe she can do anything to you. She's just extorting money." My mother-in-law, unable to out-argue me, was about to throw a tantrum on the ground. I cut her off directly. "Not signing is fine. I'll sue your son for bigamy and then he can spend 2 years in prison." "What? Crime? Michael?" My mother-in-law was so frightened she clutched her chest and collapsed to the ground, unable to speak for a moment. Sophia stepped forward to help her, but I pushed her away. "You're a wretch, too. All of you are spiteful women. Get lost." Sophia stood there awkwardly, not knowing what to do. Michael looked at me in pain. "Emily, do we really have to come to this?" I seemed to hear something amusing and looked at Michael in surprise. "Isn't this all your own doing? Just tell me if you're signing or not." I impatiently handed the contract to Michael. "I can't come up with that much money all at once." "Fine, I'll give you 3 years. Pay $1 million a year. Agree, and I'll have the lawyer draft a new contract." Seeing my firm attitude, Michael reluctantly nodded. He looked at me with a heartbroken expression, as if I were the unfaithful one. What a joke! He was the one who wronged me, yet now he makes it seem like I'm the villain. I had my assistant draft a new contract and send it over. After Michael signed it, we got the divorce certificate. As I was about to drive away, Lucas ran over with a small pair of scissors, scratching my car. "It's you who bullied my mom. It's you who made Dad not want me." "You're a bad woman. I'm going to destroy your car." Sophia quickly rushed over to pull Lucas away, but he accidentally scratched her arm. Blood dripped onto the ground. Sophia looked at the blood, then at my mother-in-law's hateful expression, and started crying while holding Lucas. "I regret it, Mom and Dad. I want to go home." Michael glared at her with a livid face. "Shut up. You're embarrassing us." And as I looked at the new scratches on my car, my face turned black with anger. "Great. Now there's another repair bill. Pay me now. Immediately." After receiving a considerable car repair fee, I drove home with my assistant to the place I'd lived for over 10 years since childhood. Upon returning, my father asked me to gradually take over the company. With my assistant's help, I slowly gained a firm foothold in the business. A year later, the company launched a major project and needed to find several foreign trade companies to collaborate with. After multiple rounds of selection, only 3 suitable ones remained. I met with the heads of these companies at the office and unexpectedly saw Michael again. Even though he was well-groomed, he still looked tired, no longer the energetic person he once was. Indeed, for someone like Michael, raising someone else's child must have been quite distressing. Michael looked at me with disbelief and a hint of embarrassment. "Emily, what are you doing here?" After a year of transformation, I was no longer the overworked woman with gray hair. Now, what he saw was the new president of Smith Group. "This is our new president, Miss Smith," my assistant kindly explained after seeing Michael's shocked expression. You're the daughter of Smith Group's founder, the new president, Miss Smith?" Michael looked at me incredulously, with a hint of regret in his eyes. I raised my eyebrows and looked at him. "Let's hear your proposal." "Hello, Miss Smith. I am Michael Bailey from the Brown Group regarding this project." Michael, having been through the ups and downs of society, quickly showed his emotions and began introducing the proposal with a humble attitude. I absent-mindedly looked out the window, appearing drowsy. About an hour later. "Finished? Then you can leave now." I waved my hand dismissively. "Miss Smith, don't you have anything else to say?" Michael looked surprised. It was clear he had prepared for this project for a long time and was determined to win it. He wanted to turn his fortunes around with this major project. From the project's perspective, his proposal was actually quite good. But, well, who told him to annoy me? Say what? That I don't like you? That I don't want to cooperate with you? Emily, you are the president of a company now. How can you be so childish, rejecting all of someone's efforts just based on personal preference? Besides, you didn't tell me your identity back then. If you had told me earlier, would I have divorced you? Michael finally couldn't hold back. His eyes red as he glared at me, shouting unwillingly, as if not divorcing was some great favor. I burst out laughing. You really got a good deal and still act so righteous. Didn't I tell you? Right after we got married, I told you I would reveal a secret to you in a few years, that you didn't need to worry about financial issues and just do what you liked. But you didn't believe me. Michael, like a drenched chicken, suddenly lost his fire. Security! Someone is causing trouble. Take him out. I turned around impatiently and left, no longer looking at Michael's expression. After that, I never saw Michael again, nor did I deliberately seek out news about him. It seemed like I was slowly coming out of my past resentment and bitterness. But then one day, while chatting with a few project partners in France, I heard news about Michael again. Wow, you wouldn't believe it. The president of the Brown Group turned gray overnight, but this whole thing is just so bizarre. That rich young lady from the Brown family was so wild and private. And who knows what Sophia Brown went through? She hated her mother-in-law so much that she turned off her breathing machine. Michael Bailey must have gone crazy when he found out, right? So she stabbed Michael Bailey to death and then took her own life. Listening to their discussion, I roughly pieced together the truth. Michael's father passed away a year ago, and his mother, devastated and already in poor health, collapsed and was hospitalized, barely hanging on with the help of a ventilator. The job of taking care of his mother fell to Sophia Brown, but unlike the obedient person I used to be, Sophia finally exploded under her mother-in-law's physical abuse and turned off her oxygen machine. Michael's mother died that day. It's said that before she died, she weakly glared at Sophia and muttered, "You wretch, seducing my son. If it weren't for you, my daughter-in-law would still be Emily." Michael checked the surveillance and discovered what Sophia had done. He was furious and wanted to kill her, vowing to beat Sophia to death. Sophia, unable to fight back, hurriedly picked up a fruit knife from the table and stabbed Michael 32 times. Previously, Sophia had made an agreement with Michael, who wanted the Brown Group's money, to continue pretending to be a good couple in public, so her parents wouldn't find out about her wild behavior. Lucas Bailey was treated as Michael Bailey's own son. Now that Michael was dead and she had committed murder, Sophia thought it was better to die than spend her life in prison. So she took her own life too. Only Lucas Bailey was taken back by Sophia's parents, not even knowing who his real father was. Knowing all this, I felt no waves in my heart. This time, Michael was truly dead. Not just faking it, but since Michael had already paid back the money he owed me, his death was just his end. As for me, I received a call from my dad and embarked on the journey home. Today was the 100th blind date my dad had arranged for me. I wondered whether this time it would be a rich, handsome CEO or just a pretty young man. I secretly thought about how to reject him. After what had happened before, I wasn't really looking forward to love. The car stopped and my assistant and I entered the estate. "Dad, where's the person you arranged for me to meet? Could it be that he's even slower than me? That's not very gentlemanly." I started picking holes before even seeing the person. "Isn't he right next to you?" my dad said with a sly smile, looking at my assistant who was 6 feet tall with an 8-pack and had been taking care of me for 3 years. I stared at him in shock. "So it turns out you were my dad's undercover agent from the beginning, and I trusted you so much, my dear queen." The assistant somehow produced a rose. "Will you allow me to take care of you forever?" I looked him up and down. It didn't seem like a bad idea. This guy had indeed grown on me over the past 3 years. Otherwise, I wouldn't have kept him around. I was a bit moved, but had to maintain some dignity. "Well, it's not impossible. Let's try it out for 6 months first. If we're both satisfied after that, we can talk about making it official." I suppressed a smile, cleared my throat, and said seriously, "All right, then I'll sign a probationary contract first." With that, he lowered his head and kissed my forehead. And I was about to step into a new life.